Chiefs Kingdom, welcome back to All Chiefed Up. We're back with another podcast for that ass. And we just learned yesterday, Kadarius Toney got injured at Chiefs camp. And today we got some updates, Steve. Let's talk about it. It was reported by Matt McMullen that Kadarius Toney and Turk Wharton didn't practice for the Chiefs today. Okay. Pete Sweeney says that he asked the PR staff and they said, I think coach may have more for you tomorrow. So it seems like they're kind of dodging the issue. A few minutes later, Matt Derrick tweets, Travis Kelce was at the mic with a bit of an injury report. He said he's crossing his fingers to get him back as soon as possible, whether it's for the beginning of the season or in a few weeks. This definitely sounds like Kadarius Toney will be missing some time. And then lo and behold, Adam Schefter, Shefty Chef, tweets, Kadarius Toney, who underwent an off-season cleanup procedure on his knee, aggravated the injury Sunday while fielding a punt, and is expected to miss some time during training camp, but be ready for the start of the regular season, per league source. Steve, what is going on with Kadarius Toney?
Before we dive into these Kadarius Toney injury concerns, make sure to hit that sub button if you haven't already. 95% of our viewers haven't subscribed yet. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers before the end of this coming season, so make sure to do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button to get this out to more Chiefs fans. Mike, it's concerning. It just is. That's the one knock that Kadarius Toney has had, is that he can't stay on the field. Everyone knows how talented he is. Everyone knows how high his ceiling is. Everyone knows he probably could fill that wide receiver one position.
Yep.
But we've all said he can't do that if he's watching the games from the sidelines. And here we go, first day of camp, and he gets an injury 4 plays in, and then we find out that he had some kind of procedure over the offseason that wasn't even talked about.
Right.
So, yes, it's very concerning, and everyone should be concerned.
Isn't that the big story here? That the Chiefs kind of knew that Kadarius Toney had some kind of off-season procedure. It was a minor surgery to clean up a knee, but he had that back in 2022 as well when he played for the Giants.
Right.
We need some answers. Is this the same procedure? Is this the same knee? Is this a different knee? Is this why the Chiefs were pursuing D-Hop in the offseason? Because they knew Kadarius Toney's injury. What is going on here? Like, I get that they don't have to tell everybody every little thing. It's patient confidentiality, so I guess Kadarius Toney don't have to let it known. But this is a franchise with millions and millions of fans. We all are involved. We want to know these kinds of things, and it's kind of ridiculous that they didn't even come out and tell us, hey, Kadarius Toney, that's our wide receiver one. You know, we believe in him, but he has more offseason injury news, and he can't even play four snaps without getting injured in the preseason.
Right. Well, the thing about it is, Mike, if it was anyone but Kadarius Toney, you would have probably heard that they were having a cleanup done in the offseason. They would have talked about it.
Yeah, I guess.
But I think they hid it. They shoved it under the rug because it was Kadarius Toney, and they knew everybody was worried about Kadarius Toney's injury history as is. So they didn't want to. They didn't want to raise any red flags. But guess what? They didn't have to. He raised one himself on the first day of camp, and Giants fans are eating it up because he's been talking mad trash the entire offseason after winning the Super Bowl. And what they've said about him is he's always injured. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Well, he's playing right into him, man. And so everybody's just going nuts about it. And then you've got the D-Hop crowd. We were big proponents of getting D-Hop in here if possible, because we wanted a proven wide receiver one to be out on the field with Patrick Mahomes this season. Well, it's looking like that might have been the route they should have took if the guy that they were planning on being wide receiver one might only play half the games this year.
Right.
I don't know. But, of course, there's so many things that factor into that. The Chris Jones extension, not having the money. There's all kinds of different things. So, I mean, obviously, there's more to it than just what you see on the surface. But I think it's completely normal for everybody to be a little bit concerned about Kadarius Toney right now and moving forward.
Look, Kadarius Toney come out and tweeted, report is slightly wrong, but I'll definitely be back soon. Love you, #Chiefs Kingdom. I don't know if I can trust Kadarius Toney. I want to trust Kadarius Toney, but he's said all this stuff since the beginning, and it still doesn't make him available. The best quality you can have is availability. We can't have Kadarius Toney as our wide receiver one and then him not be able to play. And everybody's like, Chiefs Kingdom's getting kind of annoying with this, by the way. The whole anti-D-Hop crowd, now they're like, well, if D-Hop would have been here, he would be injured too. Just give it time. How do you know that? That's complete speculation. D-Hop has never had a proven crazy injury history. Every time he has been injured, 9 times out of 10, he plays the game. He's probably played through more injury reports as questionable and doubtful than Kadarius Toney's played entire games in his career. So to say that is just flat out crazy. That's just more of them trying to double down on they were right and D-Hop wasn't needed. D-Hop was totally needed, and I'm going to tell you why, because of what we're seeing right now. It's kind of annoying that this was the number one thing that all of Chiefs Kingdom that wanted D-Hop said that we needed to prove in number one was Kadarius Toney's injury history, and then lo and behold, it's not even 4 plays in, and he proved it. He proved it 100%, and then everybody's like, well, we just need him to get healthy for the season. He had an entire offseason, Steve, and within 4 plays, the dude comes out and hurts himself. If we let him sit the entire season, he would play 3 snaps in the postseason, and boom, he's miraculously back on the sideline.
Right. It's just it's a pattern. We've seen it. He did play a lot more with the Chiefs when he came to the Chiefs than he played with the Giants. And people thought maybe he was just doing that because he wasn't happy in New York. But we're still seeing a little bit of a pattern here. Like I said, it's concerning. And it's not just about D-Hop. It's about a reliable wide receiver one, whether the Chiefs could have targeted anybody else or maybe went after another trade target or anything. It just seems that they don't have that interest. And with that being said, I mean, we do have a good wide receiver crew, Mike. If Kadarius Toney if you just eliminate him completely from the picture, you take Kadarius Toney completely out of it, that still leaves you with MVS, Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, Richie James as your top 4 receivers probably. And then you still got Justin Ross, who could play at a high level. I mean, the ceiling's super high with Justin Ross.
Justin Watson.
So, I mean, it's not – I don't think it's a time to hit the panic button. I wouldn't be, like, freaking out and hitting the panic button or anything like that, even if Kadarius Toney can't stay on the field. But it's definitely not the ideal situation that you wanted going into a season where you're the reigning Super Bowl champion. You're in the middle of a dynasty.
Right.
You're right in Patrick Mahomes' prime. You don't have years to waste with this guy. You're never going to have another Patrick Mahomes. It's just you kind of want to have things more in line and more solid proof than just a speculation.
Well, here's the thing. Kadarius Toney was never a proven wide receiver one in this league, and the Chiefs come out. They were the ones that threw that out. He's our wide receiver one.
Right.
In the midst of all this injury craziness and him apparently having off-season knee issues, he's wide receiver one. Okay, fine and dandy. I'll take your premise that he can't play at all ever again. We'll just pull him off the roster, even though that's not what they're going to do, obviously. But this probably means you have to take 7 now. You can't rely on Kadarius Toney to stay healthy to only take 6 because that's essentially like taking 5 for the majority of the season. So you just can't do it. He's probably going to force us to take 7, which may put some problems on Andy Reid's whole entire offseason plan he had because he maybe had some other different idea of where we're going to take it. And maybe they'll go ahead and take just 6, but I think you're playing with fire right there if you do. And at the same time, Kadarius Toney, this is just one of those things where it's like, I know the pitchforks are coming out. You guys are negative. You're not Chiefs fans. You hate the Chiefs. You hate Kadarius Toney. It's nothing like that. But the whole point is this. Your best quality is availability, and Kadarius Toney has all of the potential in the world. But this whole wide receiver room is nothing but unproven potential. It's fine and dandy if it works, but what's the chances that 3 or 4 of these guys just turn out to be mediocre? It's a pretty high probability.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're definitely not going to feel warm and fuzzy inside when your most proven receivers are MVS, Justin Watson, Richie James. If that's your most proven receivers, then yeah, you're not going to feel great about it going in. Yeah, I do think Sky Moore's going to have a breakout year. I think he's going to be a great receiver.
Agreed.
I think he's going to assume the Juju role. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. I also think the MVS is going to step up a little bit this year. I think that Rashee Rice could be pretty effective as a rookie just because of his jump ball ability, and we can use him in the red zone. I think that also you're going to see more Noah Gray and Jody Fortson in the mix, which they can bring in a whole different element to the game as well. But you just don't have that one guy, Mike. You don't have that one receiver where when you need a big play, you can just throw up a 50-50 ball and he's going to make it happen. We don't have it.
Chiefs Kingdom's going to tell you that's going to be Rashee Rice. Apparently, Rashee Rice is he's the Justin Ross of the offseason. Now we've shifted to Rashee Rice. Justin Ross went from a Pro Bowl caliber player to now it's Rashee Rice. And you all just wait. Rashee Rice is going to have 1,000 yards. He's going to have 1,500 yards.
And I fully believe that Rashee Rice can get to that point, but you can't bank on him doing that in his rookie season.
Right. It's still speculation in the Andy Reid offense that doesn't feature it. He may have to just be thrown into the fire like we've seen with our DBs last year. The DBs worked out pretty well, but that pretty much is an anomaly. That would probably not work 9 out of 10 times, and it worked last year, and everything lined up in a beautiful alignment to get us a Super Bowl. But to say that we can do this each and every year is crazy. You're living in fantasy land if you're telling me that what we have at wide receiver, with Kadarius Toney being injured, by the way, is just all rainbows and unicorns, and we have nothing to worry about. We're going back to the Super Bowl. We're going to win. If you say anything different, you're not a Chiefs fan. That's the kind of fan that is crazy. They're chaotic, and they live in not reality. We got a quote from Patrick Mahomes. I wanted to bring this up, and this goes right with it. He said, a message to his teammates after the Super Bowl, even though we're winning football games, let's not be satisfied with just winning. Let's be satisfied with finding ways to get better every single week. That's what we do. The people that wanted D-Hop wanted us to continue to get better. The people that want to re-sign Chris Jones continue to want to be better. The people that are just like, oh, trust Veach. We can do it with whoever. Bring in the water boy. You guys aren't trying to get better. You're living in la-la land. You're living in some kind of delusional land of magical. The Chiefs can't do anything wrong. Do you guys forget that 5 years ago we couldn't even get to the playoffs? Or was it 5? But you know what I'm trying to say. Like, we were struggling forever. And now it's just magical, like the Chiefs can do no wrong. I don't think people understand that losing Chris Jones or not having a wide receiver one, if God forbid something were to happen to Kelsey or something for the long haul, we're in trouble. I don't think people get that.
Right. Well, the thing about it is they all say, hey, well, we have Patrick Mahomes. That's all you need is Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't matter.
Well, does he
we
play
have Patrick
defense?
Mahomes. Well, here's my thing about it. If Patrick Mahomes is such a great player and a great person that he doesn't take the max contract that he can get, he's not out there being a Lamar Jackson just robbing Kansas City blind because he said, hey, I'm going to take a lesser contract. I want pieces around me because I want to win Super Bowls. Okay, now that's cool. That's amazing that we have a guy like that.
Great.
That is freaking awesome. But if you don't take that extra money and put the pieces around him and pay the people that need to be paid, then you're doing him a disservice. And how long is Patrick Mahomes going to enjoy that? Like knowing that he's giving his money away to what? Nothing?
Steve, you've said that time and time again. We've all said this, but there's a delusional crowd over here that doesn't think that that's a big deal. They think that Patrick Mahomes should keep not taking the max amount of money. For what reason? He's doing it so you can put a team around him. But yet we don't re-sign, Frank Clark. We don't re-sign Juju. They want to spend money here. We got to save it for this, save it for that. Well, who are you saving it for if Chris Jones isn't the one you're saving it for?
That's what I was getting ready to say. We can go ahead and move this along to the Chris Jones extension stuff because it plays right into it. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce both took lesser money on their contracts because they want to win. They want to be on a solid team.
Right.
If you don't take that money that they have basically donated to the team and pay Chris Jones, then you're doing them a disservice. Chris Jones is the fourth pillar of this dynasty. You have Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Chris freaking Jones. So
that's
everybody's like, hey, well, the Chiefs won't pay. They're just not going to pay people top of the line money. They're not going to do it. They didn't do it with Tyreek. They won't do it with Chris Jones. Well, here's the problem. Tyreek was never as important to this team as Chris Jones.
We proved that in one season.
Absolutely not. And another thing, you have to look at it from Chris Jones' perspective. The guy's a defensive tackle. He's not a flashy quarterback. He's not a wide receiver. He's not a celebrity like freaking Travis Kelce. He's not making a bunch of money from endorsements. Mike, you looked that up last night. He makes $500,000 in endorsement deals.
Yeah.
$500,000.
That's what Forbes says. I don't know if that's true to this point, but
absolutely insane. Like Chris Jones don't have the opportunities that these other guys have to go out and just make bank off of their name. He's a freaking defensive tackle, and they're just not that popular. A lot of people can't name more than two. They probably couldn't name Chris Jones if you had to ask them. They're just going to say Aaron Donald if you bring up defensive tackle.
Right.
That's how low key these guys are. But
speaking of Aaron Donald, he's number one. He gets paid the most, somewhere around the $30 million a year mark. Chris Jones has now come out and said this is what they're wanting, $30 million per year. Steve, is he worth it? 1,000% he's worth it.
He has to be. You can't tell him he's not. Because I think he was the best defensive tackle in football last year, counting Aaron Donald. And, Aaron Donald, you could technically say by body of work, he's still the best in the game until, he completely falls off.
But not at this
and
moment
that's
in
fine.
Time, he's not.
You can have that argument all you want. But the fact of the matter is, Chris Jones is right there with him. He is equal. Chris Jones is a game changer. He's a game wrecker. He makes your defense what it is. If you take Chris Jones off this defense, our defense drops from top 10 to bottom 5.
Look,
pretty fast.
The same rainbows and unicorn Chiefs fans are not understanding the Chris Jones thing. Oh, just get rid of Chris Jones for draft picks. Stupid idea.
Ignorant.
Chris Jones on this roster, we're a top 10 defense, and we could probably get to top 5 once it gels. Chris Jones off this roster, we'd be lucky to crack the top 25.
Right.
It's not going to happen. If he was off this team this year, if he held out all year long and ruined his career, he's also going to tank our Super Bowl chances this year. So he's playing with all the leverage.
Right, for sure. And the thing that bugs me the most is the same people that, hey, we don't need to pay weapons and stuff because we have Patrick Mahomes. We don't need all of that. They're the same ones that have always said, we just need a top 5 defense for Patrick Mahomes. He don't have to have these receivers and stuff.
You don't
need
need
a top 5 defense.
We just need a good defense.
If you have a top 5 defense, it's impossible. Patrick Mahomes is going to win every game. And that's what they've always said. But now you want to start stripping down his defense after they've built it up. Brett Veach has been on a trajectory to build this defense up. If you look at the last few drafts, that's what he's been building. So do you really want to pull the rug out from under that right now by not paying Chris Jones and completely screw up the last couple of years of drafting, trying to get this defense into a top 10, top 5 category to help Mahomes, because we know Mahomes can put points on the board. Have to have a good defense. But if you take Chris Jones off this defense, like I said, it takes you from a top 5 conversation to a bottom 5 conversation pretty freaking fast, and that's just not something that you can risk, man.
Right. Chris Jones is the glue that holds the defense together. He's the quarterback of the defense. He is the Patrick Mahomes. If you pull him off the defense goes from good to borderline great to mediocre. It's that simple.
Right.
You're going to make the corners' jobs harder, the safety jobs harder, the linebacker jobs. We're seeing a lot of this. Well, what did Chris Jones do in the Super Bowl? Oh, I don't know. He was holding up a Super Bowl trophy. That's what he was doing.
Eating up double teams, eating
double
up
and
triple teams.
Against the best offensive line in football, that some said, with the Eagles. And he allowed Nick Bolton to have the game of his life because he was eating up all the linemen. They couldn't put bodies on Nick Bolton.
You don't think for one second that after watching the AFC Championship game and what Chris Jones did to the Bengals in the AFC Championship game, that the defensive coordinator for the Eagles didn't sit down and game plan just for him for the Super Bowl?
He had 2 weeks to game plan for him.
That's what I'm saying. So he took all the attention. Chris Jones took all the attention.
We wouldn't even be in the Super Bowl if Chris Jones didn't come out and put his ball sack all over the back of Burrow and Arrowhead. Right. This guy was the reason we were there. It's disrespectful. The whole rainbow unicorn crowd is annoying. They really are. It's borderline insanity. It's annoying. It makes you want to pull your hair out. They're obviously bandwagon fans that don't get it. I'll tell you what it is. It's the generation of the kids that grew up playing Madden. They didn't know how to adjust the salary cap on the game, so what'd they do?
Took it off.
They had to cut everybody, and then they created their own players with 1 or 2 skills, signed them for the cheapest amount, and then they usured their way on rookie to win Super Bowl after Super Bowl, and they think it could be done in the real world. And I'm sorry, Patrick Mahomes makes it feel like that sometimes, but you can't always rely on it. Patrick Mahomes said it in his own words. You have to look for ways to get better. Us looking at D-Hop was a way for us looking to get better. You cannot keep settling on, well, we got Kadarius Toney. Maybe he'll play 7 games. That's good enough for Mahomes. No, we got to get better. But I do agree. Here's what I do agree. The wide receiver room is deep. Take Kadarius Toney flat out of it. MVS is going to have a big year this year. I firmly believe that. Sky Moore is going to be good this year. I firmly believe that. I believe Richie James is getting closer and closer to the roster and further away from that cut line. I really believe it. And I believe you got to take 7, and I believe Justin Ross and Justin Watson are coming with him. And I believe this is the wide receiver crew we're going to have to roll with. So we're going to test the theory that Mahomes can win with nobodies, because not saying they're a bunch of nobodies, but there's still not a proven wide receiver 1 on this roster.
I still think it's a pretty good room with those guys that you just mentioned. And it's also nice if they can clear waivers to have Nico Remigio, Jaron Ely, Smith Marset, some guys like that on the practice squad, just in case you have to dip into it because of injuries. So, I mean, I do like the depth of our wide receiver room. I'm not knocking the wide receiver room. I think we have great talent there combined. But like we've said since the beginning, you just don't have that one proven guy. And sometimes that makes all the difference. Patrick Mahomes has Travis Kelce. Thank God. If he didn't, you'd be in a heap of trouble. Well,
speaking of our receivers, Sky Moore was at the podium today. He got his chance to get out there and talk a little bit. Some of the stuff he said, Matt McMullen says, Sky Moore says that he feels significantly more comfortable right now compared to this time last year, and he's looked great so far. Sky Moore has looked great so far. They asked him what he thought, who was his favorite wide receiver there, and he says his favorite is Richie James. He's quick on his feet. So he is big praises for Richie James. Richie James opened up camp yesterday with a bang. He was out there just going at it. Sky Moore, Richie James on the field together has a nice possibility to be chaos, especially underneath routes, whip routes, things like that. And then if you have MVS stretching the field, and then maybe you can get the Rashee Rice with a lot of speed, by the way, but maybe Rashee Rice can start turning into the possession guy. Maybe that's somebody Mahomes looks for when he starts scrambling. We've seen that yesterday. We've seen it today. He caught a nice touchdown pass. He caught one on McDuffie yesterday in camp. Maybe that's how they'll have to start using it. But I'll say this, Sky Moore looks a lot better this year. It's easier to look better once you learn this difficult playbook. But Sky Moore, I think, Steve, he's going to have a good season. I don't think there's anything – and I think with Kadarius Toney's injury, if you play fantasy football and you're not going to get Sky Moore this year, you're insane.
Right. Well, the thing about it is not only is it easier to look better, like because of what you said, but also because he's actually going to get opportunities.
Right.
He did get some last year. I'm not saying he didn't get any, but he's going to see a lot more work this year from Andy Reid. And I think Andy Reid, I've heard him say it in press conferences before too, that he expects Sky to step up and take that juju role. If that's the case, he's going to be the man that Patrick Mahomes looks for on those 3rd and 10s, stuff like that. Who can find the soft spot in the zone? Who can I get the ball to? Who can make something happen with the ball after I get it to them? Sky Moore's going to be that guy, man. I'm super excited for it. But yeah, he said he's 30 times more comfortable in this offense this year than he was last year. And he loves Richie James because of the way he moves. So I don't know. I think Sky Moore's pretty excited about this coming season, as we all should be. Yeah, there's some bad things going on. We didn't land a number 1 wide receiver like D-Hop. And for you guys that think that you can go trade for Mike Evans, or you think Buffalo would actually trade Stephon Diggs to the Chiefs.
That's one of the craziest takes I've ever heard.
I mean, come on, guys. You got to get back to reality here. The fact of the matter is we have what we have. So Kadarius Toney being injured, that's concerning.
Well, look,
but
Mike
I
Evans,
still like
that's
the room.
So much more reachable than going to get Stephon Diggs.
Right, but if you're talking we can't afford D-Hop, you're not affording Mike Evans.
Yeah, true. You know what I want, though? I just want somebody to look at me the way that girl's looking at Sky Moore.
Oh, wow.
Like,
I didn't notice that. It's almost – I don't know if I want someone to look at me like that. She might eat him. She looks like a cannibal.
No offense. I don't know who that girl is. If you guys know who it is, tag her. I want her on the show. I want her to talk
I'm getting Dahmer vibes.
Yeah, I want her to talk about why she loves Sky Moore so much. We should all love Sky Moore that much. But getting over to the defense again, Spags was on the mic today. We got to hear from Spags. Spags was doing a lot of strange stuff today. McDuffie was actually not taking reps on the outside today. Come to find out, he was actually just, recovering from some of his injury he had. But Pete Sweeney reports, defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo explained Chiefs are easing in Snead and McDuffie with a rep count. Remember, they were dealing with injuries during OTAs that limited them. That explains mixing and matching at cornerback. So, okay, that does explain it. Joshua Briscoe says that his takeaways were, we are so back, and number 2, Drew Tranquill is going to play so much. And so a lot of people ask, Steve, Drew Tranquill, is he going to play? Well, he didn't line up with the first team, but I don't think that matters. Drew Tranquill is going to be a big contributor on this defense.
Yeah.
He is a big reason why the Chiefs could get to that top 5 defense.
Yeah, Drew Tranquill is an amazing football player. He's just all over the field. He's smart. He knows what he's doing, and he elevates the people around him. He's good in coverage. He can tackle. I mean, he does everything. He does everything, and it really improves our linebacker core for sure, because now you're looking at possibly a top 5 linebacker core in the NFL with the Chiefs. Right. I mean, you could argue it, but they could be right around that 5 mark. And I just think he'll be on the field quite a bit. And I think that you'll see that he will elevate Nick Bolton's game, Willie Gay's game, and even Leo. I just like the idea that the center of our defense there is going to be more solid than it's ever been. So I feel pretty good about that.
Right. Well, I got a clip here of Kelsey. Kelsey was on the mic today, and this is what he had to say about some of our young guys and different things that should make you guys feel a little better. Here we go.
I'm excited about every young guy that we got here, and there's no, let's wait until this guy develops. These guys are ready right now, and you see him flying out there. Rashee had a bunch of great plays today. Noah Gray had a great day today. Sky Moore had about 3 or 4 touchdowns and some great plays. So in terms of the young talent we have here, it's just guys are ready to play because they're putting their nose to the grind and just getting after it.
Yeah, so he was talking about all the offensive players. But I tell you what, we still got a lot of young defensive players. Trent McDuffie was on the mic today. Trent McDuffie, dude, he's going to be good. It would not surprise me, by the way, before I read this. Trent McDuffie could be a top 5 corner in this league by season's end. I really believe that.
I think so too.
Matt McMullen says that Trent McDuffie, I almost called him Trent Diffie, like Joe Diffie back in the day. You guys remember him? He said, who dealt with a calf injury during OTA, says that he's feeling good. So it's good to see that Trent McDuffie's back. Trent McDuffie actually made a few good plays. We've seen him on MVS yesterday, breaking up one up the sideline. And we were all kind of wondering today why he wasn't out there with the one some, why he was playing in the slot more than he was playing on the edges. It come to find out he's just on a count. But the defense is looking good, man. The offense is looking pretty good. Kelsey, everybody. But the one they mentioned was Deneric Prince. I've got a couple of Prince touchdowns I want to show you from today. I'm going to roll them. Here's the first one. So you're going to see Prince. Look at that diving
nice little
grab.
snag there.
What a snag. And then watch this one. Watch where Mahomes places this ball, and then watch the moves that Deneric Prince puts on. Look at him wide open on that wheel route, and watch this move. Just boom, whoop.
Hey, well, I'll tell you one thing. He better be able to beat George Karlaftis in coverage. That's for sure. What a bad mismatch there. But you know what? Deneric Prince is taking over that camp hype guy. That's what he is this year, which we all had a feeling because he's been hyped up pretty good ever since we signed him as a UDFA. Everybody's excited about him with good reason. I mean, he's an athlete, man, and I think that we got him at a great value, just like Isaiah Pacheco last year. And then you got some questions with the running back room because of Pacheco's injuries over the offseason, some of the things that he's had worked on and things like that. He might not be 100% at the beginning of the season. So that brings into question, will Clyde stay in here? That's all there is to it. Clyde's pretty much a lock on the roster. He's going to get some work. And then Jerick McKinnon's there still. But that does mean that Deneric Prince might be having to step in and do some stuff as a running back early too and not just do kick returns. But I think it's a 4-man wide receiver room when the 53's set. And I'm not upset about how that's working out, man, because Clyde's going to be playing on his contract year, so you know he's going to be playing well. And then, like, even if Pacheco can't get off to a full start early, he's got to heal a little bit more. That's fine because we have a guy like Deneric Prince that could step in there if need be. So I'm not upset about the running back room whatsoever, and I'm excited about Deneric Prince just like everybody else.
Yeah, me too. Tommy Rizak from KFEQ said that Deneric Prince with a nice catch on a wheel route from Mahomes 7-on-7. That was the one we just showed you.
Right.
And then another nice moment, Rashee Rice actually caught a one-handed pass over the middle as he fell backwards. So Rashee Rice, Deneric Prince, 2 rookies that are just absolutely walloping here in camp. Like they're doing so far the good things. Here's a little clip of Rashee Rice and L'Jarius Sneed staying after by over 30 minutes interacting with fans, and this is stuff you love to see.
Heck yeah. He's getting it already, man. Rashee Rice gets it already. It's all about Chiefs Kingdom and the support. I actually saw where he retweeted out a picture from one of the kids there. It was his birthday. Told him happy birthday again. So awesome. It's awesome to see that that's the type of guy that Rashee Rice is. We also seen Trent McDuffie do that on his way into camp, stop and spend some time with Chiefs Kingdom. This just shows you, man, we got some good character guys, and they know what's important. So I'm loving it.
Right. We actually got to see Justin Ross working with the jug machine today. I'll roll that one. You see him. Look at these hands.
Look at these hands.
Look at these hands. He's showing J-Watt. He's like, bro, I'm coming to get your job. And then we actually seen Willie hit the jug machine trying to do a one-handed grab.
No, come on, Willie.
Does he get the one-handed grab? Let's see.
Nope.
Oh for 1. No.
Nope.
Oh, so close. He got it.
He
right
got
there.
it.
Third
time's the charm, baby.
I tell you what, it's fun watching these guys have a good time. But yeah, it's looking like the defense is going to be better, but we do have to get Chris Jones back. In all seriousness, we have to get Chris Jones back. In all seriousness, we have to figure out this wide receiver room. Who's going to step up in Kadarius Toney's absence? Is Deneric Prince going to be able to handle all the workload early if Pacheco can't get back healthy? You know, it's stuff like that. But before we head out of here, we got a few more things. Charles Goldman from Chiefs Wire tweeted today and said, "My last post as managing editor at the Chiefs Wire. Thankful to you all for coming on this journey with me these past 5 years. Next chapter currently loading. Excited to share more on that soon." So not for sure where Charles Goldman is heading, but it's going to be odd, Steve, to look at Chiefs Wire articles and not seeing by Charles Goldman right there at the end because we've seen it for 5 straight years. Charles Goldman's like kind of like a little a news legend here in the kingdom, to be honest.
Right, man. I mean, he's one of the hardest working people out there. You've seen his name on everything. This guy's putting out stories day after day after day, multiple times. He done a great job.
I don't think
like
he
obviously, yeah. I mean, he's done a great job there. It'll be exciting to see what he does next, man. So it'll be cool to see where he ends up.
Right. I think he said I'd seen a tweet where he said he thinks he's just going to relax and tweet about the camp just like everybody else right now. So
why not?
He didn't really say what he's got up his sleeve next, but I'm sure he's going to be awesome at it. And we wish him the best here from All Chiefed Up for sure. Last thing before we go, we got some word on the Jordan Addison story, Steve. Breaking news, the reason why Vikings wide receiver Addison was going 140 miles per hour last week was due to a medical emergency with his dog, according to the citation. And then they go on to say, this is why we should not be quick to judge someone despite how they're being portrayed. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it makes it completely okay to drive 140 miles an hour and risk other people's lives because your dog's having a medical problem.
Right. Like, I'm all for it. Like, I'm an animal person, dog person. I get it.
Right.
But 140, if your wife was pregnant and you were doing 140, they are going to ticket you and you're probably going to go to jail afterwards.
There's no reason out there to be going 140 miles an hour on the road. We all saw what happened with Henry Ruggs. It's one of the saddest stories that's happened in years. Ruined his life.
Come to worst,
someone lost theirs.
Right. And if you guys come to this situation, call 911 and at least get a police escort. They will escort you, even to the vet. They'll probably do it. And it would probably prevent this kind of stuff. But yeah, with that being said, man, we appreciate you guys tuning in today. Tune in tomorrow for more updates on camp. Watch out. We may be going live. We're also going to be in Kansas City on August the 15th at Zarda Barbecue. Tickets are on sale right now for $10. They're going fast. Only 50 people is going to be at the event. You can get tickets at bit.ly/ACUTIX. And be sure and watch this video that YouTube thinks you're going to like. And thanks for subscribing and clicking that bell. We'll catch you guys next time. There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight.